Welcome, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Michael Listrito. I'm an attorney here at CCK, and today I'm joined by Bethany Cook, an accredited VA claims agent, and also Amy Odom, an attorney here at CCK. Today, we're going to be discussing some of the provisions, particularly with respect to how they impact veterans, that are contained in the recently passed COVID relief bill. On March 11th of this year, the president signed into law the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, known as the ARP. And essentially, this is a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package that is aimed at providing economic relief to hundreds of thousands of people all across the country, including the veterans community. Although its aim is to provide relief specifically for those individuals most impacted by the pandemic, it includes a number of different provisions that will impact veterans more specifically. So how will this bill specifically impact and help veterans? The ARP Act includes approximately $17 billion for the VA. Ensure veterans have continued access to health care. It helps fund several different types of assistance programs, some of which we'll speak to in this recording. And it includes other protections against COVID-19 for the veteran community. So there really, like I said, there are a number of provisions in this bill. It's a wide-ranging bill. But Amy, maybe we can get started with you, and maybe you can talk to us a little bit about some ways in which the bill impacts VA healthcare, and also the processing of benefit claims and appeals.
Yeah, Mike, there's just so much in here. The largest portion of VA relief money is about $14.5 billion, and that's going to be directed towards healthcare services for veterans, including support for COVID-19 vaccine distribution, so important. Mental health care services, also really so important. Some telehealth options so that folks don't need to actually go to a VA healthcare center, can get care at home just through Zoom or whatever, platform they'll be using for telehealth options. Suicide prevention, always so important, even more so now. Women's health, homeless veterans and those in danger of becoming homeless, also so important and especially now. So those are all the healthcare kind of initiatives that this $4.5 billion will be used for. But it's also going to help VA to process benefits claims and appeals much faster. Since the pandemic began, there's been a backlog of 212,000 appeals and claims that are waiting for processing. There was a backlog before the pandemic of 76,000, but now it's increased to more than double of $212,000. And this is really hard in these times where a lot of people are going through economic disadvantages, because this is slowing down the delivery of benefits and services to disabled veterans. But the money that is coming through the American Rescue Plan will help VA to move those appeals and claims out and help us to get some benefits and services to veterans. VA has now estimated that it's going to process over 100,000 claims by September 2022. So that's really great news. It'll also reduce the pending benefits hearings and intake requests at the Board of Veterans Appeals, which is great. The board is going to get about $10 million to decrease the Board of Veterans Appeals hearing requests, which are now like 87,000 hearing requests sitting at the Board of Veterans Appeals. And it's also going to help decrease the 35,000 appeals backlog at the Board of Veterans Appeals. So that's really great. Bethany, what else other kind of direct benefits are going to veterans?
So one of the more immediate benefits is the stimulus checks. So with the stimulus checks, individual eligible veterans who are individuals that reported $75,000 or less in adjusted gross income and did not file a 2018 or 2019 tax return could receive up to $1,400. So these have already started going out. If you have your direct deposit information with the IRS, that might have already been deposited. But if you haven't received it yet, you can use the IRS tracker tool online. If you are receiving a paper check or a Visa debit card with the money, then that might be still coming at a later date. One of the other benefits available is job retraining. The bill has allocated an additional $386 million for veterans who are unemployed due to the pandemic and do not have other veteran education benefits like the GI Bill. Under this program, you may be eligible for up to 12 months of rapid retraining assistance program benefits for high demand jobs and a monthly housing allowance. And another kind of immediate impact is the waiving or reimbursing of VA copays. The VA has allocated an additional $1 billion to waive copays charged for VA healthcare and prescriptions during this pandemic. So copays were suspended. Now there's a permanent reprieve of copays and for given medical debts. And this also applies to reimbursements for payments starting April 6, 2020 through at least September 30th, 2021.
Great, that's great, Bethany. Thank you. Another area that is included in this bill that will really improve veterans' lives, I think, is that there's a bunch of money being allocated to improve veterans' homes. So there's approximately $750 million allocated, whether it be construction grants or repayments or payments that are going to be distributed to states' veterans' homes to improve living conditions for our nation's most vulnerable veterans who live there. So that's a welcomed improvement, and the funds are much needed for that particular area. There are also going to be some changes to the GI Bill that are contained within this COVID relief package. The changes are going to close what is known as the 90-10 loophole in order to protect the integrity of the GI Bill, and veterans in receipt of their well-earned education benefits will continue to have these protections, and this COVID relief bill really helps ensure that. Specifically, schools that receive federal funding are required to get 10% of income from elsewhere. GI Bill money will not count towards that 10% goal as of 2023, and this is really meant to prevent bad actors and schools from taking advantage of the veterans' GI Bill benefits. So all good things, lots of money going to those areas. And again, I think specifically for the veterans' homes, this is an area that is much needed in order to help combat homelessness, which is really a huge problem. And so I think this is a welcomed improvement. So Amy, turning back to you, there are really several additional benefits that are contained within this law that will additionally help veterans in different ways. Maybe you could walk us through some of these additional benefits and describe these provisions for us.
Yeah, sure. So some of the other initiatives that are really going to help out veterans in this case or in this bill include providing emergency funding to community investments to ease challenges experienced by many Native Americans and their families, many of whom have been hit especially hard by this pandemic. The bill also allocates $80 million to establish the Department of Veterans Affairs Employee Leave Fund, which provides funds for paid leave for COVID-19 related causes. This is so important because 30% of VA's workforce is veterans, and they will all benefit from this initiative. Additionally, veterans with kids are going to potentially benefit from additional stimulus payments and an increased child tax credit and expanded child care tax benefits, all really important. Those of us who have kids out here know how, the child care can get pretty expensive. It also improves the VA supply chain system, so important because that's going to help VA get more of that PPE. And it assists veteran and non-veteran communities disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. And lastly, veteran restaurant owners are going to get priority for the restaurant revitalization grant, which is also a really, really great benefit for veterans.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, and thank you, Bethany. There really is a lot to unpack in this new law, and as you can tell, we're just very briefly going through some of the more important, I think, provisions of the law as they relate to veterans. But it's a huge bill. There are a lot of different tentacles, so to speak, and there's a lot of funding that's provided specifically to the veteran community, which is great. We hope the information was helpful and that the legislation has a positive and meaningful impact on our clients and veterans at large. Hopefully you can keep up with us on social media for the latest information and updates on veteran-related topics. And until next time, we will see you then, and thanks for tuning in.